I remember that morning vividly, the quiet hum of the house, sunlight filtering softly through the curtains, the familiar scent of coffee brewing in the kitchen. I was carrying a laundry basket up the stairs when I suddenly overheard my stepmother, Carol, speaking on the phone. Her voice, usually calm if not too sweet, held a strange coldness that froze me in place. "The facility can take my stepson on Monday," she said, her tone like she was making a routine appointment rather than discussing family. "Just tell everyone he ran away." Confused and uneasy, I paused, heart pounding, as I listened more closely. Jamie, my 13-year-old brother, sat in the next room, quietly lining up his dinosaur collection by their geological periods, the same careful ritual he followed every Sunday morning without fail. Jamie is autistic, deeply attached to his routines, and has never, not once, left the house alone. The idea of him supposedly running away was impossible to believe. Yet Carol went on as if it were a mere formality. "No one will question it," she insisted. "Kids like him go missing all the time." I stood frozen in the hallway, clutching the laundry basket as the terrors that had been simmering beneath the surface suddenly bubbled over. 3 years into her marriage to my dad, Carol had always presented herself as patient and caring with Jamie. But hearing this, seeing the cold calculation in her words, something snapped inside me. What was she planning? She continued talking, unaware I was listening. "The paperwork is already signed. His father doesn't even know what he's signing anymore." That sentence hit me like a sledgehammer. Dad had early onset dementia, a cruel thief stealing his mind bit by bit. He signed anything she put in front of him. That was the tragic reality. My blood ran cold. Quietly, I stepped away and moved to Jamie's room. There he was, calmly arranging his dinosaurs in neat lines, completely oblivious to the storm gathering around him. Trying to keep my voice steady, I knelt beside him. "Hey buddy, we're going on a little adventure today." He looked up, puzzled, a frown knitting his brow. "It's Sundays are for dinosaurs. Then lunch at 12:15. Then a nature documentary at 2. Jamie's world thrived on predictability. Disrupt those rhythms, and his anxiety would swell into meltdowns we all feared. "I know," I said softly, "but this is a special dinosaur adventure. We're going to the Natural History Museum to see real fossils." I hoped those words would spark his curiosity. They did. His eyes lit up. Fossils were his passion, real, ancient evidence of the history he loved so much. As Jamie put on his jacket, I quickly texted our Aunt Lisa, who lived 2 hours away. "Carol is putting Jamie in an institution tomorrow. Come now." Almost immediately came her reply. "On my way." Carol appeared at the door, her gaze sharp and suspicious. "Where are you taking him?" she asked, voice dripping with false sweetness. "Museum," I replied simply. "He finished his dinosaurs early, so I thought we'd go out." She stepped closer, and my stomach twisted at the faint smell of wine on her breath. It was barely 10 a.m. "He needs to stay here," she insisted. "The doctor's coming tomorrow for his evaluation." That doctor was new to me. No one had mentioned any doctor until now. "What evaluation?" I asked, stepping protectively between her and Jamie as he grew visibly distressed, rocking back and forth, a sign he was overwhelmed. "For his own good," Carol said. But her smile didn't reach her eyes. Jamie's rocking intensified. "Need to go. Need to go," he repeated, relentless, desperate for escape. The museum was more than an outing. For him, it was a fortress of facts and discovery, a place where the world made sense. Carol reached to grab him, but I stepped in front, gripping Jamie's hand firmly. "We'll be back by dinner," I promised. She glared but allowed us to pass. Carol followed us to the car, her voice rising. "You can't just take him. I'm his legal guardian now." "Since when?" I asked, confusion and alarm blazing inside me as I buckled Jamie's seatbelt. He clutched his dinosaur factbook, counting the pages to calm his racing mind. "Since your father signed custody over to me last week. Medical decisions," Carol said, flashing a document like a weapon. I studied the paper. The shaky signature was unmistakably Dad's, but Dad's dementia meant he lacked the capacity to make such decisions. "His neurologist said 6 months ago Dad can't sign legal documents," I argued. Carol laughed, dismissive. "Prove it." By the time you get a lawyer, your brother will be safe in a place that understands him. That's when Jamie spoke, his voice clear, surprising us both. She told the man on the phone the insurance pays $8,000 a month for residential autistic care. She said she needs the money for her sister's surgery. We froze. James rarely acknowledged conversations around him, but now he repeated everything he'd heard, word for word. When did she say that? I asked gently. Tuesday at 4:17 p.m., Jamie answered thoughtfully. She was in Dad's office. The man's name was Richard. The facility is in Nevada. Carol's face drained of color. He's lying. He makes things up, she snapped. That's part of his condition, but Jamie doesn't lie, not in that literal way. His brain records details with startling precision. Carol grabbed her phone, whispering urgently into it. It's falling apart. The sister knows. Get here now. Before we could react, a van pulled up. 2 men in medical uniforms stepped out. We're here for James, one said. Family requested transport for psychiatric evaluation. Carol brandished the custody paper. Take him. Jamie's distress erupted wildly. He screamed and hit himself, the most extreme reaction he'd ever had. The men moved forward, but I stood firm. He's autistic, not psychiatric, I said. You're traumatizing him. That's when Mr. Rodriguez, our neighbor and retired police chief, appeared. His eyes took in the situation. Carol, the men, Jamie's meltdown, and his face hardened. He pulled out his phone. I already called the real police, he said, voice steady. Kidnapping in progress. They're 2 minutes away. The men hesitated, exchanging glances, then began retreating just as sirens sounded in the distance. Carol's face twisted with rage. No, take him now. I have legal custody. But the men got back into the van and sped off down the street. Mr. Rodriguez came over to me and Jamie. Keep him close, he said. I wrapped my arms around Jamie as he rocked gently, whispering dinosaur facts under his breath, a ritual that steadied him in the chaos. Stegosaurus lived 150 million years ago. Allosaurus, 155 million years. 2 police cars turned onto the street with flashing lights. Carol tried to compose herself, but her hands trembled. The first officer, a woman with sharp dark eyes, immediately took charge. You all stay where you are, she said. We'll interview everyone separately. Mr. Rodriguez stepped forward. I'm Felix Rodriguez, retired police chief from the 5th Precinct. I witnessed everything and have video evidence on my phone. The officer's expression shifted. She took his phone and watched the footage. A younger officer knelt beside Jaime, gently asking, Can you tell me what happened today? Jamie continued rocking but gradually focused. I explained, He's autistic and needs time to calm down. The officer nodded, giving Jaime space. When Jamie was calm, the officers questioned me. I showed them Carol's custody document and explained Dad's dementia and his doctor's evaluation 6 months earlier, deeming him incapable of legal decisions. The officers called a supervisor and determined possible elder abuse and fraud. Carol protested loudly, claiming she was trying to help the family. But Mr. Rodriguez spoke firmly. Those men tried to take the boy by force. The woman called them here specifically to transport him against his will. Sarah, the lead officer, began gathering statements and evidence. She asked Carol about the facility in Nevada. Carol hesitated but admitted to arranging residential placement for Jamie. Mike, the other officer, radioed in for the van license plate from the video. The men would be stopped and questioned. Jamie shocked everyone by recounting the exact phone conversation Caroline had earlier, including Richard's name, the insurance amount, and the supposed need for money for a surgery that didn't exist. Carol accused Jamie of lying, but Felix shook his head. I've known this boy for 3 years, he said. Jamie's memory is perfect. Sarah asked Jamie for more details, dates, meals, activities, all consistent and precise. Carol tried one last time to undermine Jamie, saying, You can't believe him. He's disabled. Felix stepped forward. Officer, 3 years ago, Jamie witnessed a car accident here. His description of every detail was confirmed by traffic cameras. The weight of his testimony was undeniable. Sarah ordered Carol to come to the station to answer questions. Carol tried to retreat, but was blocked. That's when Aunt Lisa's car screeched around the corner. Lisa ran towards us, desperate, asking about Dad. In the chaos, I'd forgotten Dad. Alone inside the house, his condition worsening, vulnerable. Lisa didn't wait for an answer. She ran into the house, followed by an officer. We heard her calling him, voice cracking. "Harold? Harold, can you hear me?" Mike returned urgently. Dad was in medical distress. An ambulance was needed. I ran inside, finding Dad confused and disoriented, shirt backwards, one sock missing. Lisa held his hand, speaking softly. "Harold," she said gently. "It's me, Lisa. Can you tell me what day it is?" His eyes flickered, vacant. "Where's Carol?" he asked repeatedly. Carol, who was supposed to protect him, was nowhere to be found. Paramedics checked his vitals while Lisa explained Dad's dementia and signs of dehydration and confusion. Sarah and a sergeant arrived. Lisa showed them emails from Dad's neurologist documenting his incapacity to sign documents legally. Sarah and a sergeant arrived. Lisa showed them emails from Dad's neurologist documenting his incapacity to sign documents legally. The sergeant examined Carol's custody papers dated recently. "This is fraudulent." Adult and Child Protective Services arrived swiftly. Kathleen Walls from CPS took statements, interviewing Jamie gently in his room. Jamie revealed Carol had told him 3 weeks earlier he was too much work and might be happier elsewhere, words that cut like knives. They discovered multiple forged documents from medical consents to custody papers, all signed with Dad's declining signature. Folders with information on out-of-state facilities, fees, and payments indicated Carol's scheme for financial gain. Calls to Dad's neurologist confirmed her awareness of his incapacity and Carol's deceit. Police executed a search warrant, uncovering more fraud and evidence tying Carol to Richard's exploitative facility network. Lisa called the neurologist who provided testimony for the court. Kathleen recommended Jamie and I remain at home with Aunt Lisa as temporary guardians. Dad's condition required supervision and reevaluation. Carol was barred from the house and contact. The court scheduled emergency hearings. Despite the trauma, a glimmer of hope emerged. Justice was beginning to catch up with Carol. The days that followed were a whirlwind of legal proceedings, interviews, and efforts to rebuild. Jamie clung to his routines as best he could, but the rupture was deep. We secured therapy services, occupational therapists to help him cope with change, and caregivers who understood dementia for Dad. Moving forward wasn't easy. Carol's hold over us had shattered, but the wounds remained. 3 days before the court hearing, we prepared ourselves. Jamie, dressed in his favorite dinosaur shirt, held his fact book tightly as we faced the judge. Carol sat silently, the weight of evidence pressing down on her. Judge Lorraine listened carefully to timelines, forged documents, testimony from doctors, police, and a retired chief. She heard from Jamie himself, who stood with quiet strength, reciting Carol's incriminating phone call perfectly, word for word. His voice, steady and clear, painted a picture so precise it was impossible to deny. The judge granted Aunt Lisa temporary guardianship of Jamie and our father, suspending Carol's parental and spousal rights until further notice. Carol's outburst in the courtroom and her arrest marked the end of her control. Relief washed over me, mixed with anger and sorrow for what was lost and what was nearly stolen. We returned home, weary but resolute. That evening, I sat with Jamie and Lisa, planning new routines and filling out applications for services that would support Jamie's growth and Dad's care. Weeks turned to months. Jamie began social groups, making rare, genuine connections with others who shared his passions. Lisa found love again, marrying a man who understood their world. I pursued my degrees and dedicated myself to advocacy, determined that no family should suffer what we did. The legal battles continued. Carol's plea deal ensured prison time, justice for her crimes spanning elder abuse, fraud, and child endangerment. Richard's operation was shut down, and more families came forward, our story sparking hope and exposure. Dad's health declined gently but steadily. We made the painful choice to prioritize his comfort in his last days. surrounded by family and dinosaurs, a symbol of stability and love amid chaos. Jamie read to him, their bond a quiet balm. After Dad passed, Jamie spoke at the funeral, sharing dinosaur facts as a tribute to a complicated but loving relationship. Life moved on. We settled into a home rich with care, laughter, and safety. Jamie thrived academically and socially, dreaming of a future in paleontology. Life moved on. The scholarship we established in Dad's name helped others like Jamie discover their strengths. Our family, once broken by deception and betrayal, grew stronger and more resilient. Carol's shadow faded as we created lives marked not by fear, but by love, trust, and fierce protection. On a quiet Sunday morning, I watched Jamie organize his dinosaurs by geological period once more. The same routine that once almost became a trap was now a symbol of survival and hope. We didn't just endure Carol's betrayal, we built something better. A family.